to another episode of Hand Tool Rescue. Today, I have something so glorious, so specifically exquisite to my needs in life. It's a massive, massive pipe wrench, glorious in nature, essential, 87 inches long, 137 pounds, 40,000 pound braking capacity. Do you even understand what is here in the shop? Something you're never going to see again. Not only that, I actually have two of these, so deal with that. I was contacted by somebody on Instagram named Paul Galati, who you may or may not know of, and he said he found somebody with two of these completely unused, as you just saw me officially removing the 100-year-old wires that held the chain on, and wondered if I would like to touch them and have them in my possession. So he loaded them up on a super long pallet and shipped them to me. Now, my hope here, because these were never used, was really just to stop the whole deterioration process. I'm not happy when something is rusty and deteriorating, especially something that's essentially quote-unquote brand new or unused. So we're at least going to make this look new again and get it back to life. And the other one will just sit and chill. I'll probably spray some oil on it, and that one can stay as, an original, uncut, untouched wrench. And I'll have these two forever. They are so massive that I actually can't even operate them just by my lonesome. This is at least two people, possibly three. I really don't understand. These were used and marketed for oil pipe line users. For whatever reason, I guess you would just haul around a 140-pound wrench with you everywhere, tightening oil lines and oil pipelines. No idea. Anyways, the chain is super heavy. It's probably, I'm going to say, like 70 pounds. Almost half of the entire weight of the tool. And a bunch of links are completely seized and locked up. So after a dunk in the Evaporust, they should be fine, but we'll find out if there's any super tight joints that weren't able to get derusted. And after pulling this out, everything came out black. So if you remember, when something comes out dark black over, a usual dull gray out of the Evaporust, that means it was hardened, and some of the carbon has migrated to the surface, I believe. And it's the reason you don't want to leave high carbon items that have been hardened into the Evaporust for too long. But the entire chain seems to be violently hardened, so that's good to know. I guess that's part of its insane braking strength. And here I'm just kind of admiring, and that's a odd word because the machining on this is rather poor, in my opinion. Poor in the just surface finish, not necessarily in the fit or, actual reason for having an insanely mere finished surface finish on a pipe wrench that's getting used and abused. But it just looks like the largest, dullest face mill was used to flatten these things. Now, I don't actually have a container of Evaporust long enough to fit this entire wrench in. I thought about buying maybe like an 8-inch PVC pipe that's like 8 feet long and filling it with Evaporust, but this is easier and less expensive. So an etching line will be created where the oxygen from air meets Evaporust and steel. So that's why you have to fully submerge items into the evaporust. If anything's sticking out, you need to kind of make sure that etch line doesn't happen, and I do that with just wrapping some towels right near the surface of the evaporust, and that will keep that etch line from not forming and ruining this tool, because it will etch pretty deep. If you can have, like 1/8 of an inch deep, depending on how long you leave it in there. It really, really eats it. It's odd. The rest of the work is essentially just wiring with an angle grinder with a battery, so it probably lasts 5 to 10 seconds before I need a new battery. And I'm just trying to get every single link to move freely, and then I'll oil everything and everybody will be happy. This actual piece, I guess you can call it the stem of the wrench, was drop forged, and the mill scale and drop forging marks are still all over this thing, and I don't want to remove them at all. I'm not shining this up. I want to just preserve and restore back to original factory condition as much as I humanly can. So I'm really not trying to alter this in any massive way, other than stuff that has deteriorated and needs that love. So something like this nut that is all pitted, it didn't come like that from the factory, so I can take a little bit off and restore it, quote unquote, back to normal. Everything on this wrench is just completely ridiculously oversized. I just can't get over it. This is maybe like 1.5 inches of just bolt and nut. This looked like it was a little damaged, maybe hammered. It might have came like that from the factory, no idea. Based on the kind of finish quality of everything else, maybe it just was like that. I had to switch to carbide tooling here because there's a hard spot where sparks start flying, and my high-speed steel is not cutting it. No pun intended. And it looks pretty good. Still damages kind of on the sides, but I'm not going to make the touch of those. Now, I made this little rubber stamp that I painted with this off-white. And this is as close as I could get to what I believe was the original finish, as mentioned by the literature and visually confirmed based on only a few other wrench photos that I found of this type of wrench online. So I believe this is the case. The colors did change at some point. This was red or like a slightly orange way later, but this one definitely seems to be earlier based on the kind of forge markings it has and the black paint that was already on it before I dunked it in the evaporust. Now these step teeth here are actually still fairly sharp. Sharper than I thought they would be. They're machined well. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe they were broached or something. It doesn't look like any circular machining marks were on there. Really no idea. But it's such a simple, low number of piece design for a chain wrench that I can understand why there's at least more than a few of these out there. Now, most interestingly, the insane wrench fits this thing perfectly. And I just happened to finish this video at the same time, so that was very convenient. But I guess this is a 2-inch head on this bolt, and that fits perfectly in the psychopathic wrench. Now, I brought it to the other workshop and essentially lifted it up with the crane hoist that's there, because I can't actually use this for anything. I don't have an 18-inch metal pipe. I don't have 3 guys who want to turn metal pipes all day. I don't know how to lift it any higher than just using an actual crane. it's just so cumbersome. It's mind-blowingly insane to me that this was used frequently and commonly enough that this was marketed to a bunch of workers. I'll never fully understand, but anyways, it is mine now. I will keep this. This is more like a showpiece for my own personal use. And I hope you enjoyed. It's just a quick video, and I will see you in the next one. Later.